this is Brennan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to the Lumen Stock Car Invitational. This is season number 3, race number 26 at the Evergreen Speedway, the only track on the schedule in Washington State, and the last of the races that are going to be in the Pacific Northwest. And we've only got 3 races to go left in the season, and this championship battle is definitely heating up. And there'll be a lot of guys that are looking to gain some points here today. On top of the point standings right now is Kevin DuPont, the number 98. He took the points lead away after he won the last race at Watkins Glen. And or 2 races ago at Watkins Glen, actually. We've had quite a bit of technical difficulties lately, and other shenanigans happening. Race number 24 at Watkins Glen. I didn't even press record on that race, so all of that footage got lost, so I have to re-record it at some point. Darlington, my audio was muted, but my co-commentators wasn't, so that's going to be a bit of a wonky upload. I'm probably just going to upload it as is. Now here at this race at Evergreen, hopefully everything runs smoothly this time. But Kevin DuPont is your points leader. He has 580 points. Tim Berry is behind him, 13 points back with 567, and then it's a gap back to JT Boyd in third, who is 34 back. George Bryan in fourth, who is 46 back, and Corbin Taps in fifth, who is 48 back, and then everyone back of them is at least 60 points back, so they're going to need a miracle, but they're still not out of it yet. And but I mainly expect those top 5 in the points to be your championship contenders here in this final leg of the season. Joining alongside me for the second time this year, it is Eddie Debs. And Eddie, I don't know how many races you've seen at this Evergreen Speedway, but what are you expecting from this race, and what do you expect to happen in the championship battle?
Well, I was lucky enough to be able to see the amateur series race earlier, and oh boy, was that an absolute madhouse in terms of the championship there. But all that aside, this is definitely a track where you expect, as short tracks, maybe, the inside line takes the lead and people are able to get out, and you'd expect a lot more lap cars. From what I saw at the amateur series, lap cars weren't really a factor. I mean, you could say that due to the amount of wrecks, but maybe we have more of a clean slate with some of these more experienced drivers here tonight. So we'll see if any lap cars, but I don't really think that's going to happen. In terms of the championship, I mean, right in the center of your screen is really the main story we're probably going to have to walk into. George Bryan is only 46 back. Technically, that means he can't take the championship lead today, but it does mean that he's going to definitely, if he can hold this position, especially if he holds it the rest of the race, he will have practically caught right back up to Kevin DuPont at this point. And with not a lot of other championship contenders around him in terms of where he's starting, I don't recognize any other ones. He could realistically find himself just flying away with this race and possibly just put himself in the best momentum going into the last 2 races of the season.
And we thought this about the pole sitter back on Tuesday. You mentioned the amateur race. James Harvin, who had a 34-point lead coming into the second to last race of the amateur series season back on Tuesday at this very racetrack, started on pole, looked like he was going to run away with it. Then he got taken 3 wide and wrecked on the back straightaway on the opening lap, and he ended up finishing 26th. He still has a sizable points lead, but he did not lock it up that week. And maybe something similar happens to George Bryan. Of course, Bryan's not the points leader, but still, he is actually the new record holder for the most poles in a season in LSCI. This is his 4th pole of the year, so that 01 has definitely been fast. And you see him on the front row alongside the number 57 of Shauna Everett. In row number 2, we have the 6 car of Holly Martin and the 25 of Luana Connie. Then it's the 92 car of Kate Summers and the 41 of Karina Willis Calloway. The 58 car of Cheryl Simmons alongside the 45 of Rebecca Raymond. 79 car, that's Kobe Hollenbeck alongside the 7 of Lori Jackson. Joe Smith back here alongside the 18 of Zach Dearman. Then it's Kevin DuPont, your current points leader by 13 points. He starts up in, I believe that is the 11th position. That's the 14th position in the number 98 car. And alongside him is the 70 of Andrew Kreider. Then it's Jacob Lopez in the 1 car, and the 36 of Ashley Blake. 65 car, that's Jack Gino, alongside the 99 of Akia Tajima, who won this race last year. 85, that's Charlie McCarron, alongside the 77 of JT Boyd, third in points, starting in the midfield. Then it is the 29 of JB Chanot and the 55 of Michael Harvin. 62 car, that's Vinny Scholes, alongside the 28 of Adrian Wheeler. Then another Pacific Racing car, the 32 of Randall Riff, making his final start of the season, and the 81 car of Latanya Gray. Got the 52, that's Ryan Silva this week in the 52 car. This is believed to be his final start for Blake Everett Motorsports. I can't believe I almost mixed them up. This is expected to be his final start of the season. He's expected to run at least one of the last 2 races in the Hudson Motorsports 19. The 24 car of Cooper Spur alongside him. Then it's the 3 car of Billy Smith and the 16 of Corbin Taps. The 66 of Tyler Landry and the 8 of Darren Walker. And evidently McPicky Motorsports had a very bad qualifying effort. 3 of their cars are 29th or worse, including the second place driver in points, Tim Berry, who starts alongside Oscar Duvall. You know that's a great sign when you're starting alongside Oscar Duvall. Back in row number 17. And rounding out the field here today is the 39 of Lakin Herndon. This is going to be a 109-lap race, and the most similar racetrack to the schedule, or to this one that's on the schedule that we've run, is North Wilkesboro. It's a similar track length. The layout is similar. This track is a bit narrower than North Wilkesboro is, but expect a bit of a similar race to that one. Honestly, in terms of the tire strategy and just how the track runs in general. This one might end up getting a little more chaotic than this year's North Wilkesboro race, which was a great, fantastic race. So I'm expecting nothing less from today's race here at Evergreen.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off the back straightaway here at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington, just on the outskirts of the Seattle metro area. Nomek fails off the start. Eddie, who do you think is going to win the race today?
Well, I think someone who needs to win and is in a position to win is Karina Willis-Callaway in the 41. She's got her teammate in front of him. She desperately needs a win if she wants to keep in the title reign, because realistically a win and a good finish could put her right in the title hunt in the final day. So I think she's got motivation. Let's see if she can take that and put it in victory lane.
Starting in 5th place, running a long winless drought. Maybe that comes to an end here today. It's the 01 of George Bryan and the 57 of Shauna Everett. They're going to take the green flag. We are underway here at Evergreen. And coming out of turn number 4, a great start by the 01 of George Bryan. He is leaving the pack in the dust. Battle for second between Luana Connie and the 57 of Shauna Everett. Definitely an inside lane preferred racetrack, much like most short tracks. And Connie will move up to second. Karina Willis-Callaway trying to ride that train on the inside to take over third from the 57 of Shauna Everett. Rebecca Raymond down there, tied for the most top 5s in the league, which is an interesting stat considering she's been struggling for most of the year. But when she does run good, she usually finishes good. And that could be a good quality for Checkered Flag Racing, as it was announced that she'd be going to that team earlier in the season, in season number 4. So definitely a good quality to have in terms of maximizing your good runs. But George Bryan out there off the start of the race, and Luana Connie trying to track him down.
I don't want to see how the times move up here, Brandon, because it looked like Connie caught him just a tiny bit on lap 3. It's going to depend on whether she got anything back here. No.
She didn't.
Brian's got the faster car, so well, it's going to be interesting to see. Again, Connie's Motorsports moved themselves out in the second and third, so not much of a surprise there that they would work together in that inside lane. I mean, looking back towards the rest of the top 10 at this point, Marisha Vebelst has gotten herself into 6th.
That is actually
7.
Cheryl Simmons in the 58 this week, not Mauricia Bebels.
Oh. Interesting. Anyway, whoops. Number 1 car, Jacob Lopez, after not the best couple of races these past couple times, he's now in the top 10 all of a sudden. Bonnie Martin's up here.
I think that's my
Zach
bad because
Bierman.
I think that's my bad because I think I made an error on the entry list, but that is Simmons in the 58 this week, not Bevels. But yeah, Dearman up in the top 10.
Dearman is up to the top 10, which is a place he kind of needs to be. He is 8th. He's 65 back at this point. With how far behind that 98 of Kevin DuPont is, he could realistically benefit very much from this, and again find himself in championship contention with 2 races to go.
Caution's out.
How much else?
Oscar Duvall.
No.
Michael Harvin is around
55.
in the 55, and for the second time in 3 days, the 55 car is involved in the first caution. And Duvall also has damage, and he just ran into Cooper Spur under caution, so maybe a bit of tempers flaring. It has been a frustrating season for both of these drivers, and it might be boiling over here, as it looks like Jack Gino has damage as well. I think we had 2 separate accidents. There's skid marks in turn 3. Darren Walker has damage. And we got some split strategy here. Most of the field coming down, but some cars are staying out, including your leader, George Bryan. Interesting to see how this works out, pitting this early in the run. And a slow stop for both the 25 and the 6. Connie will lose some spots, as well as Martin. And Karina Willis-Callaway will come out first out of those drivers that pit. One of the cars that was involved, Michael Harvin, didn't even come down, and neither did Jack Gino in the 65. So, interesting split strategy here.
Brennan, but Kevin DuPont has moved himself up to 3rd by not pitting right there. That's not a great thing for George Bryan to see in the back. And man, those Harvin boys might need to get themselves out of Washington State at this point, because what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
with your guys going out early, like something's going on. I want to say there's a curse, but like that's never a good sign to see, everything go wrong in 1 week.
Yeah, it's been a rough week here for the Harvin boys, at least to start off. Duvall has come down a second time. He has some right side damage. He might have been the one that spun out in turn 3, but you'll get to see it on the replay here very soon. And then we'll get you back to the restart here at the Evergreen Speedway. Only 10 laps complete here. We've got our first caution of the day. George Bryan is still the leader. He's led every lap so far, but we'll see if the differing tire wear will end up having an effect on the running order after this restart. Here's what brought out the first caution of the race. 3 wide off of turn number 2. Cooper Spur did not give Oscar Duvall enough room and puts himself and Jack Gino into the wall. And it's on from there. The 8 absolutely runs into the 27. And then the 24 turns himself across the 66. And that's where all those guys got their damage. And then up here, Michael Harvin running up wide. And the 62 of Vinnie Scholes runs into the quarter panel. Maybe she wasn't anticipating that Harvin would slow down that much in the corner, but regardless, she just kind of ran through the back of him and turned him on the front straightaway. So 2 separate accidents, although I don't think the second one would have happened if the first one didn't happen. But either way, several cars involved in that. None of them seem to have any major damage. The 27 seems to be the one that got the worst off, and now we understand why the 27 ran into the back of the 24 under yellow. He was not very happy with Cooper Spur. He thought Cooper Spur could have given him more room, and yeah, so tempers flaring on the short track. That's pretty normal to happen on a track like this. Surprised that it's happening so early, though.
I mean, yeah, 3 wide we know is barely going to work on this racetrack, and a little bit of touch there by Lake and Herndon may have gotten into that 24, which when I got him in the 27, then just everything coming together between these two. And then up front, Yeah, I can't tell whether Vinny just didn't expect Harvin to do anything or just completely just got blindsided by the fact he was slowing down. But regardless, 55 going around. Not a great day for the Harvin brothers. Sorry, not a great day, not a great week for the Harvin brothers. And then, I mean, I can kind of see why Duval would do that little thing, but come on now, guys. Like, it's be civil about things. You can talk about this in the garage. Don't get your front end messed up now just because you want revenge. And again, like I said, with what Lake and Herndon might have done, it might not have even been Cooper Spur's fault at all.
Yeah, I didn't notice it the first time around, but it did look like the 39 might have touched the 24 just a little bit, might have instigated a little bit. So, might not have even been Cooper Spur's fault. And, you know, those two cars were demolished already. I guess Duval's like, sure, why not demolish some more? But that's two drivers that have had difficult seasons getting into it with each other. And, you know, one of them is most likely going to be out of a ride. So, which it is Duval. So, you know, sometimes when you're expected to be out of a ride, you do some drastic things. So, yeah, that's what caused the first caution of the race, and we're going to get back to the restart here on lap number 13. Welcome back here at the Evergreen Speedway. We're completing lap number 12 of 109. We'll restart on lap number 13. Nobody is off the lead lap after that accident. All parties involved are still running. So that is good news for them. We had a bit of a shakeup in the running order after some cars decided to pit and others decided to stay out. But it's still George Bryan out in front. Sean Everett, the second place starter, is still in second. Kevin DuPont, Laurie Jackson, and Kate Summers will round out your top five here today. Interestingly enough, 3 of the top 4 in points did not come in. You see Tim Berry there on the scoreboard in 8th place in the 11. And here comes Bryan on the restart, but the 57 got a good jump, and Everett might be looking underneath George Bryan to take the lead away from him. She peeked down to the inside, but didn't make the move. But you know who did make the move was Laurie Jackson. Oh, Kate Summers into the side of Kevin DuPont. That's a bit of a hairy situation going through turn number 4, and DuPont's getting shuffled up the grid, and Tim Berry is also getting shuffled up to the top side. And this is also something that we saw in the amateur race. All the championship contenders couldn't stay to the bottom and kept falling through the field. Berry finds a spot in line though, and DuPont continues to fall, and this is exactly what Berry wants to see. Is that 98 getting closer to him? There's Randall Riff in the 32 getting underneath him. Lakin Herndon in the 39. And a bit of a Toyota train down there as there's 4 of them up here in the top 10. And we might have this battle for the lead's definitely not over yet because the 57 is still on the back bumper of the 01. And Laurie Jackson, who Eddie you knew was very strong at Phoenix, is also up in this battle.
For Laurie Jackson, this is a must-win scenario. I mean, everything's a must-win scenario from here on out, but she could technically keep herself in title contention if she wins today. Albeit, she'd have to have a terrible race go out of Kevin DuPont, but regardless of that, at this point, I think they're locking in. It looks like 57 hasn't seemed to make a move. 7's not making anything. I think they're probably content for just a little bit. Now, I don't see any real shakeups in terms of the top 10, so I don't think any of the drivers who pitted have made it up into the top 10. You still got Tim Berry sitting there for now, but like, times are sort of evening out. Unfortunately for them, that means Kate Summers and Lakin Herndon might be catching this 3, and suddenly it's going to be 5 cars fighting just spots, but in the end, a race victory by this point. But we'll just have to see how the next couple laps run out. Again, these guys don't have tires. And they might be begging for a second caution at this point.
I almost forgot Laurie Jackson. Laurie Jackson actually won the last race at Darlington, so she's actually going for 2 in a row right now, which has never been done at the Cup level. And she's going to the inside of Shauna Everett for second. We got a checkered flag racing versus Blake Everett Motorsports battle here, and Jackson will take the spot. She'll move into second, and Kate Summers is also getting passed by the 39 of Lakin Herndon, who has been absolutely moving since that restart. He's gained at least 3 spots. So that 39 looks very fast as Kate Summers falls back and is now in the clutches of her Pacific Racing teammate, Randall Riff. There you see DuPont currently running in 7th. Tim Berry just passed the 29 car to get to 9th, so he is 2 spots behind the 98. And it is absolute pandemonium here in the midfield as we see some of these cars that pitted, like the 41 and the 25, moving their way through the field. And the 65, who not only stayed out under that last caution, but also has damage from the last caution, is going to get sideswiped by the 79.
Oh no, this is not good. This ain't
They're
sustainable,
3
guys.
wide. The 41 you saw almost lose it off of turn number 4, but she saved it. Oh, is there enough room? Oh my goodness. Cheryl Simmons in the middle as Gino continues to get shuffled out. Gino's not giving up on the outside lane. The 79 overshot the corner. This might bottle them up here going into turn 1. And they're going to file it back down to 2 wide. So the crisis is averted, but we got another row of 3 wide. And this one has Tim Berry in it. But once again, they're going to sort it out and file it back to 2 wide as Tim Berry is now losing positions in the 11 car. And that is not what he wants to see, especially since the 98 is now well in front of him now.
And that's terrible for Tim Berry, because again, not pitting might not have helped him with the tire. Ooh, Lori. Lori's got a bumper. Also got Lakin Herndon has suddenly moved up in the top 3. He definitely is someone who would love a high finish. But right now, with where Kevin DuPont is, he would not gain enough to, I think, stay in the championship battle.
Herndon looks very fast here on this run. So does the 32 of Randall Riff. So definitely keep an eye out on these 2 drivers to potentially pick off these guys in front of them. Jackson's still trying to find a way around Brian, who has led all 25 laps so far. But I feel like it's going to be only a matter of time before someone gets past him. I do not think he's the fastest car out of this group. So we'll have to see how this battle develops, as we got 5 cars under a blanket here up at the front. Then Summers and DuPont trailing them, trying to also include themselves in the mix. Oh, Brian's going to go up a little high on the track. This could give Jackson an opportunity, but she's not able to quite close in enough to make that move. And the 01 is having some trouble sticking down to the bottom, but he's been getting good launches off the corner by taking that wider radius. Kind of some defensive driving there for the 01. But we'll see if Jackson finds a way around him here soon. I feel like either her or Herndon are definitely faster. At least the 39 is definitely faster than Brian is, but it's proving to be pretty hard to pass up here at the front here today.
I really think, Brendan, there's a chance that tire wear has finally caught up to these guys. I don't know what the tire... You know the temperatures, it's not that bad in Washington right now, but you got to think that, like, tire wear is coming in, especially since none of these guys, have pitted. They're all on the tires they started with on lap 1. Looks like, it does look like Karina Willis-Callaway has made her way into... No, that's Rebecca Raymond. Excuse me, she's in the top. Didn't she pit? I'm pretty sure Rebecca Raymond pitted.
I don't remember. Ryan Silva's up here too in the 52 car.
I'm pretty sure both of them did, and they've been picking people off. So at this point, Rebecca Raymond, because there's Callaway, I'm pretty sure Raymond did hit. So I'm of the utmost concern for them is that these guys don't make their way up to the front because they got the fresher tires. We're just going to have to see, because again, tire wear is just going to play out for everyone else up in that top 8 right now, and it's going to be whether they get picked off, whether a caution helps, or whether they have to pit under green, which would be an absolute disaster for everyone. Because at that point, you're going a lap down, basically.
Here's 3 of your top 4 in points. They're all running well behind DuPont. 16th, 17th, and 18th. Boyd and Taps have the fresher tires. Barry does not. Luana Connie is going to get stuck up on the outside lane. But the 41 has definitely taken advantage of that fresher rubber and has gained quite a few spots since the restart. But it's still these guys that stayed out that are still up in front. And nobody's been able to get by George Bryan so far, so he's been doing a good job of holding them all off. 32 looked to the inside of the 57 for 4th, but wasn't able to make the move. And Jackson once again has the run on the 01 car. We'll see if it's enough to try and get by. She slips up the track a bit. That's not going to help her. Brian's going to stay up front.
I think Brian just knows... I don't want to say he knows the groove better than they do, but he certainly is, like, figuring out how to block, which, again, for someone who is in a single car, boy... the 39 lost the back end. That's not going to help. isn't gonna let the 57 get by him, but
57
that's not gonna
not
help
close
him
enough.
catch. They're not gonna let him help him catch the 7. Maybe if he can just if 7 can get in the 01, 39 can push past with her, and then all it takes is him getting underneath. And man, he can't find anything off of 3 and 4. Lake and Herndon desperately needing to stay up front to get ahead of DuPont, and he's going to lose a position to the 57 of Shauna Everett if he's not careful, and he is not careful enough. So, I mean, Lori Jackson's all over Brian's bumper. You got to think she has the faster car, but she just can't get past the great defending so far by George Bryan, except for a little bit. Yep, nope, he's figured something out. He's figured something out. He knows something that 7 doesn't, and that some other people might, but he's got some kind of strategy up there, and it is helping him hold off this charge of cars that are probably faster than his car is.
The 01 of George Bryan looking for his 3rd win on the season, which would tie the all-time record with Joe Smith in terms of most wins in a season. He already broke the Poles record, so he's just kind of chasing all the records right now. But I also wanted to touch on Lori Jackson again. This is a very special track to Lori Jackson. This was the track where she made her debut in an emergency relief effort for the number 28 for Checkered Flag Racing. And she impressed as a top 5. She wasn't even signed as a driver. She was signed as part of the pit crew. But they put her in the car, and she ended up with a top 5. She got more opportunities after that, and now she's a full-time driver. She just got her first win last race, looking for 2 in a row. You know it would mean a lot to Jackson to come back here 1 season later and get the win here, as she's going to make a move underneath turn number 1, a big
I think
dive
the 01
bomb.
just retired.
And she made it look easy. You wouldn't have thought that she was sitting behind that car for 30 laps, as she is going to take over the lead. And there you see your first lead change of the race here at Evergreen. Lori Jackson now out in front once again, looking for 2 in a row.
I saw some sort of smoke. I thought the 01 had blown a tire, but clearly he hasn't come down pit road. So, great move out of Lori Jackson. Oh boy, 27.
Lap traffic, Oscar Duvall.
He's still got that right side damage. He might be a little too much off the pace. I don't know. I might have to disqualify him, but I can't say anything about that. But at this point, I saw something about the 20. Oh my goodness.
Lakin Herndon.
George Bryan's lost everything. I think he's lost all of his tires. Because Lakin's going to take him for 2nd right here. Oh man.
Absolutely. The 01 has definitely cooked his tires by now. He spent so much time trying to hold off everybody. And now he's going to slide back to 3rd. I was going to point out the lap time of Oscar Duvall is within half a second of the leader, so that is nowhere near DQing level slow. So he'll stay in the race, but he could still cause an issue for the leaders here. And now that the 39's past the 01, we'll see if he has anything for Lori Jackson here soon. Here comes the 57, here comes the 45, likely on those fresher tires as well. And she's the highest running of those cars that took the fresher tires, and there's no one even near her other than the 52. So she could definitely take advantage of this. Her last lap was a 21.69. She's about a half a second faster than the 32 was, and a couple of tenths faster than the rest of these guys. So she's definitely got a shot to run these guys down. We'll see how well she can get past these cars up at the front. And she's getting blocked by Shauna Everett right now, but she's all the way on the back bumper, almost turned her, but the 57 launches off the corner. The 45 loses a bunch of time. Oh, the 57 way up the racetrack, and that'll allow the 45 to get by. As for the race lead, Lakin Herndon just took the spot away from the 7. The 7 hanging tough on the outside, trying to fight back, and they're both catching a lap car while this is going on. I don't know how Duvall's going to factor into this battle. He's going to block. He's going to cover the inside, holding up the 39, but that's not going to stop Herndon from taking the lead away from Lori Jackson.
And he got under him, and he's going to let Jackson follow at this point. Duvall's going to need a really good jump right here, otherwise he's going to lose it to both these guys. He's not going to get it. They're going to get around Duvall.
He's too off the pace in order to pose much of a threat to keep that lead lap stature.
Oh, but he is going to get in front of Brian. That's not going to help the other two catch up, or Brian's just going to go straight under him. That was easy.
If I'm
Jeez.
if I'm the 27, I want to stay out of the way of this. I don't want to influence this lead battle at all. So
That's fair.
he definitely could have been more of a nuisance than he was, but he did have a bit of a slight effect on that lead battle. But Herndon out in front for the first time in the race, but the 7's not giving up. She's still on the back bumper of the 39, and these two have to worry about this 45, who is now up to 4th. Oh, we have a car in the pits. It's the 52 of Ryan Silva. He had an oil leak, so a mechanical failure for the 52, and that sucks because he was running in the top 10. He was the second car on fresher tires, and now what looked like was going to be a good run for Ryan Silva is not going to end up being one.
And that's tough, you know, because you were...
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
DuPont
Oh, and that's
Taps.
huge, too, for the 16. Man, that 16 car, he pitted. Corbin Taps has finally gotten his fresh tires up and running. He just got by DuPont. That's huge for him. He's just going to need to figure something else out.
He almost got into the quarter panel of the 98 there. The 45 is under the 01, going for 3rd.
This is definitely an interesting strategy by Brian, because you can tell from how long they've gone, they're definitely just trying to do a one-stop strategy. The rest of the field could do a one-stop strategy, but their tires would be dead by the time they reach lap 109. So they'd probably have to go in for a second stop if they even want to stay out on the track.
I haven't even considered whether this race is a 1 or a 2-stop race. It'll be some interesting pit strategy, that's for sure. Looks like Randall Riff's trying to find a way around George Bryan as well, but yeah, the pit cycle is going to be very interesting once we get up to it, because we're going to have basically 2 split groups that come in at different times. And this is also a pretty treacherous pit road, especially since the pit boxes are very tight here, so that could definitely play a factor. We could see some collisions in the pits or something of the like. But possibly with 2 separate groups pitting at separate times, we'll have less interaction there in the pits. But we'll see how it all plays out here. As the 39 starting to pull away from Laurie Jackson a bit here. He's built that lead up to about 0.4 of a second.
Also, oh boy, yeah, no, that's not good for Brian. Hey, Brian's in a good spot with the 98 falling back. I think he's probably saying this is all right for now. At this point, when I'm looking at pit strategy, I think I can start to see why a lot of the championship contenders ended up going with the second group and have been out on tires since lap 1. Because realistically, that's the group with the smaller amount of cars. There's probably less of a chance to get messed up on pit road. If, so be it. Bad things happen on pit road. It's probably going to happen to the bigger group and the smaller group. So I got to think that might have played into some strategy in terms of determining whether to stay in or out. But man, that 45 car. Yep.
She's half a second faster than the 7
definitely
car.
Definitely got the fresh tires, because there's no way in heck she'd be able to move this fast on lap 1 tires.
Yeah, she absolutely did pit under that first caution. And I'm surprised that we've gone green since that first caution. There were 3 cautions in the amateur. Oh my goodness. 31st for Tim Berry. It has not been going well. He's behind damaged cars right now. He got into the wall at some point. I just saw some right side damage on his car, so that probably explains why he's so far back, but maybe some light damage on that right side, but not enough that should be affecting him that much, especially on a short track. But he is struggling beyond belief right now. And again, that's great news for Kevin DuPont, because that's his greatest championship rival right now. But DuPont himself has fallen back to 11th. Still not a bad place to be running, but Corbin Taps is in front of him, and he's looking to gain points on him. Rebecca Raymond just passed for second. We'll see if she can pass Lakin Herndon for the lead before the pit cycle starts. But Herndon's sitting pretty comfortable right now with an 0.8 of a second lead.
Gotta happen soon, because it's 60 laps. They've been running on these tires for 60 laps. Either because of how, cold it is realistically. I mean, it's 66 degrees, but regardless of that, this is kind of where I'm starting to guess if it's not a 2-stop strategy, if these tires, just because of the, circumstances and the conditions, can go for, what they would have to go for, which is nearly 100 laps. because at that point, for the people who pitted first, they would need to go on tires that would last 100 laps. So trying to figure out whether they can, and oh boy, Karina Willis Callaway's now falling back too.
This 52, remember the
spots.
52 came in and fixed an oil leak. They probably put fresh tires on that car too, so he's likely much faster than everyone else in the field. And this is always interesting when something like this happens, when they're in the middle of a long tire run, somebody comes in with a mechanical failure, several laps down, and you can just see him absolutely overtake everybody. This is always fun to watch, even though, oh, he just blew up!
Oh my God.
What on earth?
Right as you were stinging his
and he's
phrases,
holding up
buddy,
DuPont, and DuPont,
Oh
I think,
my
is trying to pit right now, and he is, and he's going to get held up by the 52.
What in the... Oh boy, well, if there's any good news for DuPont that keeps him out of the pit lane, what the 55 is doing?
55 is also pitting. This is the start of the cycle.
Okay, so this is... So did that play in DuPont's favor to have someone get in front of it? 7's in. Alright, yeah, no, this is it. And so is George Bryan, so... Here's where things about to get interesting, is how long can these other guys survive on these tires? How far can they get ahead of this little pack right here? The 98's not going to be out of trouble just yet in terms of pit road shenanigans.
Barry is in.
King Barry.
And that is 2 mechanical failures for the 52 within about 10-ish laps of each other. So that is absolutely wild. There you see DuPont exiting the pits, and he's going to hold up the 45.
He's going to get it for Raymond. Oh, Rebecca's not going to be happy about that.
Looking throughout the field.
Wait, Luana Connie's pitting, though. Luana pitted at 10, so people are just pitting now. Yeah, Lakin Herndon just pitted.
45 is in. Everyone's pitting at the same time, so they ended up evened out on tires. Did somebody just retire? It was a 52. Yeah. I thought I saw someone...
this is interesting. Because Corbin has the lead. 98's just trying to get over. What the heck's the 25 doing at this point? Damn.
I'm trying to find...
strategies are getting weird.
I'm trying to find Corbin Taps on the track, and where on earth is he? Is he in the pits? The 58.
Oh, 58.
Cheryl Simmons has turned around in her pit box, and she is going to exit without any further issue. So that definitely wasn't ideal for the 58. I'm still trying to find where the 16 was. There he is. He's out on the track still.
He is not pit yet either. It's neither has the 81 or the 88. That's Joe Smith and LaTanya Gray. If the timing is right, have not pit yet.
There's Gray out on the track right now, so she has yet to pit as well. And the 88 is also still out there, so these three trying to stretch it for as long as they can, trying the Brad Keselowski strategy. And we'll see if it works out for them.
Don't look now. Oscar Duvall is in second. If we're not considering these three drivers. Lakin Herndon got out in front of the rest of the pack. But...
Well, no, because remember, Duvall is damaged. He hasn't pitted yet either. So
you're probably right.
He's supposed to be a lap behind the 39. So, yeah, there you see him right here. He's well off the pace. Ran almost a 23-second lap the last time, so he also has to pit. So there's 4 cars that still have to pit, still on the racetrack, including Corbin Taps, who will get a bonus point for leading a lap. And there you see all those cars with the fresher tires passing him on the inside, including his teammate Holly Martin.
Holly's going to have to get out of the way, because P might need to pit soon. Oh, he could cut down that. He's not going to. He's going to keep holding it. This is interesting right here.
I think he's trying to catch a caution and trap a bunch of guys a lap down.
Well, I'm starting to think that people are more civilized.
Here comes the 88.
Joe Smith, yep. 5th down.
He has right side damage, so that might be an extended stay for him. The 81 still is out there, right in front of the 7. Who is effectively in second, and she is holding her up considerably, and now she's going to come in and pit.
Okay, so depends on where the 16 is now.
The 16 is still on the racetrack.
He's still on the racetrack.
I would expect him to come in this time
and here he comes. Yep, nope, he's going down. Okay. We'll see how they come out. I don't think it's going to be too well for either of them.
And that should complete the cycle there, and that should cycle Lakin Herndon into the lead.
Depends on who's where. Corey Jackson, oh boy.
Laurie Jackson's about 3 seconds behind the 39 of Herndon. There you see Taps leaving his pit stall, and the 39 will get by him, no problem.
I gotta think, it's really... Kia Tajima's... Is Kia a lap down?
He is a lap down. There are a few cars that are still going to be a lap down. Including...
Well, he'll be in the lucky dog for now.
Joe Smith, Cheryl Simmons, Charlie McCarron, Oscar Duvall. I imagine all those guys must have had issues in the pits. Duvall is exiting the pits as he makes his second pit stop.
That's a whole lot of damage on the car.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to know why Rebecca Raymond chose that strategy, because Rebecca was definitely faster. She was catching people. I do not know why she didn't just stay out for another couple of laps.
Well, I think the logic here is that if you're gonna pit, this run at the end is going to be shorter than the run that you just ran. So I think coming in and trying to maximize the time on the fresh tires was the strategy there, but it's not going to be as effective because she pitted with a lot of the other cars. She still pitted a couple laps after some of the leaders did, like the 7 of Shauna Everett, but she's not going to have as much of an advantage as she did on that first stint. But that first stint was definitely good for her, brought her up into third. And I don't know, we'll see what happens here. We could definitely get a late caution that could shake things up.
George Bryan's found himself up to 5th, if nothing else.
Yeah, George Bryan's had a very good race here today. There's Kevin DuPont, who is currently running in 6th place.
Oh.
And Tim Berry currently runs in 24th, so better than where he was before, but Kevin DuPont trying to run away with this points lead, as the only championship rival ahead of him right now is Bryan, and he's only 1 spot ahead of him.
This might just be a race where the 39 played did exactly what he needed to do. He got aggressive when he needed to get aggressive. Now all he needs to do is hold on to it. And I'd imagine there probably isn't going to be a caution unless something crazy happens. So, well, if people keep going too wide, there's always a chance. But as long as it's a clean race, I don't think anyone's catching Lincoln Herndon, and he's going to get a win he desperately needs.
There is quite a few laps to go, though. 28 of them this time by, to be exact. And there will be lap cars in the way of the leader through this last stint, and Herndon is going to have to figure out how to navigate through them. But he has a 3.6 second lead over the 7 of Everett, so he's looking good right now. Battle for 5th here. Kevin DuPont underneath George Bryan, and he's going to move himself into the top 5. And this is great for Kevin DuPont, who has really made a splash in this second half of the season. He's made quite a few enemies, but evidently if you just keep running well, it doesn't matter how many enemies you make, you're still going to be leading the point standings. So all that matters in the end is results. And Kevin DuPont's definitely gotten them. Even if he doesn't win here today, this is definitely going to be a big points day for him. Hold on that points lead, extend the points lead over a lot of these guys. And Bryan lost more than just the 1 spot. He dropped way back. Lost a spot to the 1 and the 25. Might lose a spot to the 29 as well. I don't know what adjustments they made to this 01 car, but they're definitely not helping, that's for sure. He's going up the track again, way up the racetrack. He's going to concede another spot to JB Chanel in the 29.
You'd think that maybe his car was just best on clean air, and now that he doesn't have the clean air, everything's just going horribly wrong for him. But again, as you said, adjustments might have been more important. Man, Lincoln is just not making the move. I mean, he doesn't have to. He's got a 3.5 second lead over the 7 of Laurie Jackson, but you might think he'd make a bigger move at some point, but I think he's just content staying where he is right now.
It is
as
notable.
Long as,
It's notable which lap car is ahead of him. It's the 24 of Cooper Spur, who has had a history of doing a little bit of trolling with the leaders. He cost Zach Dearman a win at Milwaukee back in season 1. And he ended it to Michael Harvin pretty much by getting in his way. That was the only lead change of the race. And we know Cooper Spur. He wants nothing more than to get himself on TV. He's definitely getting some TV time here by holding up the 39. So this is not an easy lap car to pass for sure, despite the damage on the right side and rear end of the 24. Herndon's definitely not getting by him. He's not losing too much time.
There.
He's going to get to the inside, though, of the 24, entering 3. Should be able to dispatch him, at least for the moment. And that's exactly what's going to happen as Herndon gets past his first lap car of this sequence, but there's still a couple of them ahead of him that could potentially cause him fits, but I think he's far up enough to where he can afford to lose a bit of time by trying to get by the lap cars. As we are now inside 20 laps to go in this race.
Now all he realistic, and now a caution doesn't hurt him too much because he's got a lap car in between him and Laurie. But man, I mean, it's been a great day for Lake and Herndon. He came in, ninth place. He's only 72 points down, which means he'd need a big win over Kevin DuPont to keep himself in it. DuPont isn't exactly in the best spot for him, but if anything else, Lakin isn't going to lose any point to him, and all he needs to do is have another good run next week, and he could find himself in championship contention. Last race of the season at Auto Club. But I mean, it was perfect strategy. He managed to hold out on those tires, got himself all the way up to the front, and just had the better car as the guys too wide in front of him. That'll help, but it might hurt if these guys just don't want to be civil. Ability helps in this situation, and they're going to be relatively tame for now, at least 55. Michael Harvin will be, but it's exactly the kind of race you need late in the season, just a win. We assume he'll probably get up to this point, and a couple of points towards Kevin DuPont that he can use, and maybe we'll see him fighting for the championship at the end of the season.
And these guys that are below 5th in points, that have the 60-plus point gaps, are probably taking solace in the fact right now that last year's champion Jacob Lopez was 51 points back with 3 to go, and he still won the championship. So you never say never with some of these guys like Lake and Herndon, who's 72 back. It's unlikely, but it's not impossible. And we also saw that last Tuesday with Jake Sidney, who was also 9th in points before that race happened. He ended up getting a clutch win, and he is now still mathematically eligible for the championship heading into the finale. So, yeah, anything can happen in this championship fight. We've seen some crazy things go down before. But as much as Lake and Herndon's running pretty well, DuPont's also running pretty well, which could be enough to counter that at least. But Herndon, right in the middle of all the slap traffic, dealing with it well, though, and they seem to be racing him pretty respectfully. So, and that lead that he has over Laurie Jackson stayed about the same ever since the cycle, as we are going to have 12 laps to go next time by for the 39 of Lake and Herndon, looking for his first win of the season. He has won in Season 1 and in Season 2, trying to keep that streak of winning at least one race per season going here at Evergreen.
Looking back, man, whoa, something got to happen because Jake Lopez just moved up to 3rd all of a sudden in the back. Maybe just lapped cars gotten to Randall. I think Joe Smith might have gotten to Randall Riff, and Jacob Lopez just benefited off it. He's in 3rd.
Wow, look at the last lap that he just put up. He's fast.
Holy.
But he's 6.7 seconds back. If we get a late caution, he could be still in this thing, but Herndon now has put Landry, Harvin, as well as Cooper Spur and Nakia Tajima lap down. So that's 4 cars between himself and the 7. If we do end up getting that late yellow, he's going to have a buffer between himself and Laurie Jackson, especially since it's within 10 laps to go and the lap cars are not going to line up on the inside. So he's looking pretty good right now, this 39. I think something's going to have to happen to him directly in order for him to lose this race.
And speak of bad things happening to people, DuPont out to 5th and Brian's down to 10th. So another championship point lost there for 01. He's just going to have to hope he doesn't lose anymore, Jack. Ooh, Vinny Scholes.
Good run for the
Good catch.
62. Haven't mentioned her all day, but she's just outside the top 10, having a decent-sized run. Oh, the 88 just got into the wall. And that's going to cause a bottleneck into the corner. DuPont is about to pass the 32 on the outside if he can keep it going. Oh, they're going to be 3 wide with DuPont in the middle. This is not what he wants to see, especially this late in the race. Oh, my goodness. So you're DuPont. What are you thinking in this scenario?
I don't even know. Oh, Luana could have made some move there, but ability wins out in the end, and Joe Smith just got to go to the back of this line.
Oh boy,
Smith
that
got some
was
damage on the side.
Joe Smith was already a lap down, so he was already struggling, but that got very interesting right there. Duval's about to fall a second lap down to the 39 as the 39 gets by, and that's what you said. That I said almost anything can happen here late in the race. Something really big almost just happened to Kevin DuPont. He is thanking his lucky stars that wasn't anything more than it was. But 5 laps to go here for Lake and Herndon. Martin lap traffic, but well protected from second place. He's just got to turn a few more clean laps, and he's got it.
Gotta think this is a yin-yang scenario for Columbia Motorsports. One of your guys gets a win. The other guy, who's closer to the championship, is going to finish a lap down, fall, all the way back probably. He might
29.
not. Yeah, Tajima might need a win in the end next race if he wants to have a shot at Auto Club. But who cares what happens? We got 3 laps to go. We're at the point of no return, and I think Lake and Herndon has found himself 3 seasons and 3 race wins.
Yeah, if a caution comes out now, the race is over. We do not have overtime in this series, so that's good news there for Lake and Herndon. He's just got to bring it home himself. And, he's the only driver that can beat him at this point, So, 2 to go. Looking pretty good for this 39 car. Still a great run, though, for Lori Jackson in the 7. Backing up a win with a second-place run. Definitely a well-needed good run there for the 7. At a special racetrack tour. Jacob Lopez, if this run was a bit longer, I would have liked to see how close he would have gotten to Herndon. But Herndon's going to take the white flag here at Evergreen. Just 1 more lap to go for him. And he's looking at his 3rd career win. Going through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag in the air. Lake and Herndon is going to get the win. And it's going to be 2 for 2 for Columbia Motorsports at Evergreen. And it will be Herndon's 3rd career win. 4.5 seconds ahead of Lori Jackson in the end.
And that's just how it goes sometimes. You get a very good car, you get a good strategy. Man, he started all the way in the... How far back did he start?
I think he started last.
He did start dead last.
Herndon completed the last to first challenge. I didn't even realize that. So he becomes the 2nd driver this season to complete the last to first challenge, and the other one, I made comparisons to North Wilkesboro. The other one was Cheryl Simmons at North Wilkesboro. So I guess this style of track is the last to first type track.
Well, scratch it off your bingo card, LSCI fans, and goodness me, I need to do better reporting. I should have thought about that. But regardless, man, 24 cars on the lead lap. George Bryan couldn't find anything on the turns. I think he just kept going way too wide. And in the end, that cost him all the way down out of the top 10. And yeah, Kevin DuPont's going to get exactly what he needs to get himself closer to winning the title at the end of the season. All he really needs to do is do exactly what is it James? No. Is it James or Michael? I'm confusing the Harvin twins
James
again.
Harvin is the one in the amateur series. Michael Harvin's the one that was in this race right here.
Thank you. James, we'll have to just not do what James did, as we've seen, which is have a terrible race that gives people a shot. But realistically, a decent race, and he could see himself on top of the podium before he even reach Auto Club.
He finished the highest out of the 5 drivers in the top 10 in point, or in the top 5 in points, rather. He finished in 5th. George Bryan finished 11th. Corbin Taps 12th. JT Boyd 13th. So all things considered, those 3 drivers are still going to be relatively close to DuPont, but their chances definitely got considerably worse considering they were not able to outpace him in this race. And Tim Berry's 22nd, so it could have been much more of a disaster for him, but it's definitely not good for him. DuPont's going to probably have a decent-sized points lead headed into the final 2 races at Auto Club. Looking very good for that number 98 crew, who have really come on strong here in the second half of the season. Ever since that win at Pocono, I think that was the turning point for this team because they were the weakest of the 3 Walker Brothers cars in the early part of the season. But once DuPont got that win, everything changed, and they became an elite race team for sure. While the other two Walker Brothers cars, 26th and 33rd, they've just been on a late season skid. But the 98's been trending in the opposite direction for sure. But he was not the one that won the race, though. Lakin Herndon gets his 3rd career win here. Congratulations to him and Columbia Motorsports. This is Columbia Motorsports' 3rd win, or no, it's their 4th win of the. No, it is their 3rd win of the season. They got one with Kobe Hollenbeck at Iowa, and they also got one with Akiya Tajima at Kentucky. So that's their 3rd win. All but JB Chanot have gotten wins for that team this season. Last year, all 4 of them got wins for this race team. So, I guess Columbia Motorsports definitely likes winners, kind of like Chip Ganassi. 24 cars on the lead lap in this race. 34 of them finished the race. The only one to not was Ryan Silva, who went out with a camshaft issue almost immediately after he had some sort of other mechanical failure that I don't remember. I think it was an oil leak, but that was an interesting turn of events right there. But that's a tough break for the 52 team, but they're not running for points or anything, so it was just a blow to their pride, I guess. But yeah, Herndon with a 4.5 second victory here, and once he got out front, he definitely we noted this after that first, or I guess the only restart of the race, that the 39 definitely got a great jump on that restart, and that he had a fast-looking car, and once he got out in clean air, it was basically over for everybody else. Nobody could catch him. Jackson was able to hang with him for a bit, but didn't have as good of a pit stop and wasn't able to make any moves on him. She was too far back at that point. But interesting race here at Evergreen today. Eddie, what did you think of today's race? And next week we're going to be going to the Homestead Miami Speedway, and maybe give us a preview for that track. What do you expect to happen there?
Well, for this one, I mean, pretty simple. Early caution gets us a lot of different strategies, and in the end, it's the road less taken that ends up getting the win for Lakin Herndon as he stays out compared to everyone else going for an early pit stop. Everyone else pits at the same time, but Lakin just found his way to the front, navigated the pit road, got himself out in front once the cycle went out, and after that, it was smooth sailing for the 39 car. For Homestead Miami Speedway, I mean, come on, guys. It's Homestead Miami. There's a reason it's used as the finale for so long in NASCAR. It's one of those tracks where you could realistically see any driver going to victory lane, and that's probably what we're gonna expect to see in Miami. So, I mean, again, with DuPont, he got a bigger lead now, but if time is told with the amateur series, there's always a chance someone can just have one bad day and everyone else can benefit from that. So we'll have to see what happens to Kevin DuPont, but as of right now, he should probably look into not choking this lead. I'm just going to say that now. Congrats to Lakin Herndon. Congrats to Lakin Herndon. See y'all in Florida.
Yeah, definitely looking good for Kevin DuPont here in terms of the championship. Next week, Homestead Miami Speedway. It was the finale track in Season 1 and Season 2. Provided some dramatic moments, and while it's not the finale this season, still expecting to be dramatic with a lot of championship implications on the line. Got a different colors on that racetrack. We got the Miami Vice colors on it this season, which we didn't have in the prior two, so it's definitely going to make it stick out, that's for sure. But that's going to do it here from Evergreen. And it was an interesting race for sure. Once again, one final congratulations to Lakin Herndon and Columbia Motorsports on the win here today. And on behalf of Eddie and myself, This is Brendan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network signing out.